With the crash cart, it used to before, we take it to the schools. So when the presentation is being done, they can see before and after. When my life changed completely, I did not expect that at all. It's, honestly, sometimes they say that you don't realize how good you have it, right? To me, life was just going on. That's it, and beautiful. My kids, my work, that was my life, picking them up, bringing them food. I never thought that night what was gonna happen.
Lily Trujillo never imagined becoming the face of street racing and speaking on the dangers of this illegal and dangerous activity. But she says when life takes unexpected turns, you adjust and take on your new paths. Born in Ensenada, growing up in Mexico City, and going back and forth to the United States, Lily has been on quite a journey.
We had such a big family. They all parent us, my uncles, my grandparents. My mom was always working. She was a travel agent, so at the time they would send her traveling in Japan. She was always out and about. But as I said, she was very loving.
And having her father living in the U.S. gave Lily an opportunity to explore life in the States. And for months at a time, Lily's mother would send her and her siblings to visit.
She wanted me to learn English. So she's like, you know what, go see your dad. And if she was like struggling for some reason, and because there was a point that we were not with my grandparents anymore. My mom would struggle sometimes. So she's like, you know what, just go with your dad. So I'm like, okay. So I remember I did 5th and 6th grade in Texas.
Those years opened her eyes to a new life.
Every time I would go visit Mexico, I just didn't see myself living there anymore. I was very, very Americanized. I remember Mexico as my teenage years, really. And to me, as an adult, and learning, I even learned how to drive in Texas. I got my license in Texas. So to me, my life was here.
And it was also in Texas she fell in love with an Italian man who swept her off her feet. And when her father uprooted the family to Florida, he followed and vowed to be with her forever.
So he got on his knees and he told me, I will change my life around if you marry me. And I promise I will not do anything bad anymore. And I said, okay, and I said yes. And we got on the motorcycle and went to get something to eat.
The two married in 1990 and traveled the world together, from Italy, Rome, and Mexico. But a few years later, Lily found herself pregnant with a baby boy.
And my mom had to tell me, you know what, you have to be a woman and a wife as well. Because I was so obsessed, you know. I was so excited being a mom and just this little bitty thing just depending off of me.
And to add to the new adventure, a job opportunity for her husband moved the family to the sunny West Coast, and Torrance became their new home.
I enjoy so much being a mom. Oh, I really did. And all my friends that I met at the YMCA were also saying that. So our life was take the kids to preschool, in the meantime go to the YMCA and work out and do the step aerobics at the time. Go to lunch with all my friends, you know, go home, get ready, and go pick up the kids, or, you know, and then take them to their activities too, like swimming lessons, wherever it was. And like I said, I met a lot of moms. And most of the moms that I met all had more than one.
Lily was committed to her family and making a home for them in Torrance, but something was missing.
I finally got pregnant like 6 months later. And never forget, I went to the doctor next to the little company of Mary, and we did the ultrasound. He told me, you're having a girl. And then I went to Macy's at the Lamo, and I passed by. I didn't realize I passed by a mirror and I was smiling the whole time all by myself, like smiling the whole time, so happy.
Valentina was born March 31st, 1997. And as fulfilled as Lily felt being a mom, her marriage was a different story. After being together for 17 years, they called it quits, and Lily embarked on her next journey as a single mom.
He moved out. I looked at the closet, and I almost had a nervous breakdown when I saw half of the closet gone, half of the drawer, everything gone. I was like, I can use this for this. Now I can put my pants over here. I actually started feeling amazing. I said, you know, little by little, I found out that I could do this, and it was a different world out there. Never thought I would be divorced with 2 kids, living on my own. I didn't see that, but I loved it. I loved my independence. I loved working, because when you're working, you meet other working women that are going through the same thing as you are, And I had my father at the time, took care of me.
She was able to lean on her father, who really stepped up to the plate, filling the void that was missing.
I said he was there when I needed him the most in my life. So I didn't, even though it was hard for me because I was scared, emotionally I was scared, but I had everything. I had my dad taking care of me, so it actually, the transition went pretty smooth.
Equipped with a high school degree in her 2 languages, Italian and Spanish, Lily knew she had to go back to school if she was ever going to stand on her own 2 feet.
When I got divorced, it was so easy for me to be a mom and a dad to my kids. Because I knew it. I knew what my mom did. And I ended up doing a lot of what my mom did.
From a stay-at-home mom to attending UCLA, to flourishing in her career as an interpreter, and raising teenagers, Lily was getting a hang of her new life.
As a single parent, I moved a lot here in Torrance, all over the place. And we always had a 2-bedroom. That's all I could afford. So Valentina slept with me in the same bed. So all of a sudden she's like growing, this huge, teenager next to me.
Staying very involved in her children's lives was very important to Lily. And as things were coming together for her family, she received an unexpected call about her own mother.
I would talk to my mom every day. We believed she had lung cancer, but she didn't want to tell anyone. And she didn't even know she had it. She never wanted to know if she was sick. That was the way she was. She never wanted to go to a doctor. So it was like my brother didn't know where she was. She didn't go to work. He went to house, found her there, took her to the hospital, and died of a heart attack over there.
Although losing her mother was devastating, she focused on the relationship with her own daughter, which continued to blossom.
I left them here in Torrance at her house. And when I left her, Valentina had a unicorn bag. She loved unicorns. So she had a unicorn backpack, and then she had a beanie on. And I remember dropping her off, her and her best friend, and they're knocking on the door, so cute, and they're just standing there. And it was supposed to be, like I said, a night of makeup, a lot of the girls being together, and then she was gonna get picked up and go spend the night with her girlfriend. So I dropped her and I got teary-eyed. And I was like, gosh, why am I getting so emotional? What's wrong with me? She's so adorable, her little life, so different from me growing up in Mexico City. And she has such a cute life, but I didn't know why I got so emotional. Little did I know that was the last time I was gonna ever see her alive.
And that night, Lily received another unexpected phone call.
I don't know what's going on, I'm sleeping already. And I get a phone call like around 1 in the morning. And it's one of her friends is telling me, hurry up and get here. Valentina was in an accident.
Valentina was dropped off at her girlfriend's for a sleepover. And now Lily was rushing to Harbor UCLA for an emergency.
And I walk in and right up to the emergency room, and I see, Massey there, her best friend, strapped to an IV, and her mom, they're both crying like crazy. So I'm thinking she's in another room, and I'm like, where's Valentina? Where is she? And she's crying, and she's like, Valentina died. And I just collapsed to the floor, right there, just like, I don't even know, it was like a shock. And I'm like in the floor, and I remember just my son picking me up and telling me, come on, Mom, get up. And I'm like, I can't do this. In 2009, my mom passed away in January. My older brother passed away in November that same year. My father had passed away 2 years before. I took it all. I couldn't, I just lost it. And especially, my daughter. And I remember my son, just all of a sudden, he was 22 at the time. And he said, Mom, I got this. I got it this time. So I was holding on to him. They took us to a room, and they told us, after, to me, seemed like an hour, I'm still in disbelief. I'm still saying, no, she didn't die. She's in the other hospital. And they told me, you have to come to your house, and the police is going to meet you there, in this house. I come in the car with my son, and I see the police officer, a woman police officer and a man, and I see her with Valentina's purse. And okay, so we walked right in here. I sat right here in one of these chairs. And that's when they told me, we're sorry to tell you, but your daughter passed away in the crash. All I remember is Luca looking at identifying his sister on the phone. His dead sister. And that's the last image he has of her. Every inch of my body hurting. My nails hurt, my hair hurt, and I was so out of it. And I didn't even realize that I didn't take care of my son. I've been such a mother and a dad and taking care of him. I don't know, he took over. I didn't comfort him. I didn't make him feel better. I lost it. I was up in that room, gone.
Valentina was in the backseat of the car, coming from a party with friends, when the driver accepted a street racing challenge. He ran a red light, hit an SUV, lost control of the car before crashing. Valentina was partially ejected from the car and died instantly. When we come back, find out how her mother, Lily Trujillo, used her tragic accident to spread awareness and save other people's lives.